This is a teaching of Hebrew Shalom Ministries, the Hebrew Aleph-Bet, Part 4, the letter dalet. Shalom, shalom. Welcome to Part 4 of the Hebrew Aleph-Bet series. This teaching is on the letter dalet. This is what the Hebrew letter dalet looks like. And here I've included also a picture of what the Hebrew letter dalet looks like when spelled out as a word. Notice that the letter dalet has a vertical line and a horizontal line, and there's a little overhang at the top right hand corner there. This is how I would write the letter dalet. I write a straight vertical line, and then at the top a straight horizontal line. As I mentioned previously, make sure you have a little overhang there at the top right hand corner, and there you have the letter dalet. If you remember, the first aspect of Hebrew letters is that each Hebrew letter has its own distinct sound. The sound of the Hebrew letter is the first aspect of each Hebrew letter. The sound of the dalet is the D sound, the same as the D in English. The sound of the dalet is the D sound, D. By adding the nakud, which are the dots and dash marks, sometimes called the vowel marks, we can clarify the sound associated with each Hebrew letter. As an example, let's look at the Hebrew vowel called zere, which sounds like A. I've drawn out a picture here with the vowel zere with some examples. The letter bet, which we covered, with a zere would sound like bay. The letter dalet with a zere would sound like day. And the letter pay, which we haven't covered, which is a P sound, would sound like pay. So by placing the zere, the two dots under the dalet, we get the D sound from the dalet combined with the A sound from the zere vowel, so we get day. Another example would be the vowel kamatz, which has the ah sound as in Abba, which we mentioned in a previous video. If we put the kamatz, which looks like a little capital letter T in English, underneath of the dalet, then we get the sound da. We get the sound da. So now we have learned enough Hebrew letters to make another Hebrew word, the word dog, which in Hebrew means fish. You take the letter dalet, remember we read from right to left, with the kamatz underneath it is the sound da, and the gimel, which we learned in the last video, is the G sound, so you have dog. The second aspect of each Hebrew letter is the numerical value of that Hebrew letter. The second aspect of each Hebrew letter is the numerical value of each Hebrew letter. Can you guess what the numerical value of dalet is? The numerical value of aleph is 1. The numerical value of bet, the second Hebrew letter, is 2. The numerical value of gimel, the third Hebrew letter, is 3. And the numerical value of dalet, which is the fourth Hebrew letter, is 4. So now we have enough information to calculate the numerical value of the Hebrew word dog, which means fish. If you take the dalet, which is the numerical value of 4, take the gimel, which is a numerical value of 3, and add the two together. 4 plus 3 equals 7. The third aspect of each Hebrew letter is that each Hebrew letter is also a Hebrew word. Here in Psalm 78, we have the word dalet, translated as door, door of heaven. Here you see what the dalet looks like with the vowels. We haven't learned that vowel yet, but that's how door would look in the Hebrew. Here's the picture from earlier of the Hebrew letter dalet written out. Notice there's a different vowel, a kamatz vowel, under the dalet in this word, but it's the same 3 consonant letters. The Hebrew letter dalet is a door, a dalet. The fourth aspect of Hebrew letters is the picture or shape of that letter. Here is what a paleo letter dalet looks like. It was a flap that would hang down in the tent as a doorway. As an interesting side note, this is what the letter dalet looked like during the time of David. the Paleo-Hebrew changed as the shape of the door changed in the tent. This was the shape of the doorway in the time of David. It was more of a triangle shape. What makes this interesting is if you take two of these dalets, these triangle shapes, and you interlace them, you get the Star of David, two doorways. This is an interesting mystery from the time of David, that the Star of David is made up of the Hebrew letter dalet, specifically two of them intertwined, two dalets or two doorways. This concludes part 4 of the Hebrew Alphabet series, the letter dalet, Shalom Shalom, and Lehitraot. This is a teaching of Hebrew Shalom Ministries. Shalom Shalom.